Are you ready? What? I said, are you ready? Yeah! Can't steal it! Woo! Wheel and deal it! The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better. I got 141 and 2/3 chance of winning. But brother, I am bad and they know I'm bad.
I'm the man of the hour, the man with the power. You sweet to be sour.
It's showtime, folks!
Welcome to the Grill Out. From the heart of Shillian, West Virginia, here's your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the Grill Out, episode 29. I am your host. Somebody's a little excited. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty, and I am joined not with one, but both of my illustrious co-hosts. First off, Jason Lykens. He has returned.
I'm going to stop you right there, Jeff. If you're going to introduce me, you do it right.
Okay, how should I do it?
Ladies and gentlemen, he hails from Whitesville, West Virginia.
He's a Boone Countier.
A man who is not overweight but under height.
And over-modulating the mic.
Am I?
A little bit.
A little bit? No. A man who says and believes that when you're good, you're good. But when you're great, you're me. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Lykens. You see, that's how you do an introduction. And Josh, I see you standing over there with that little smirk on your face because you won a little title. But no, Jeff, I'm not
Cole,
done.
baby.
I'm not done talking. But here's the thing: I could go over there right now and I could slap the taste out of your mouth. I know it, you know it, and Jeff, if you don't know it, I'll go over there and slap that stupid ponytail off your head.
I got it in a bun right now. I got a man bun right now.
Oh, okay, so that's why it looks so dumb. Your man bun. I got it in the man bun. Shut up. I'm gone for 2 episodes, and what do I hear? Oh, Jason, he's at an undisclosed location. I was in the hospital.
No, you were not.
I was lying there dying.
No, you were not.
I was dead for 28 and a half hours, and then I came back, and I did the best promo of my life when I was on the original WWE ECW show as the zombie. But no, you sit there and you talk about Josh Cole, the maestro. You talk about him, but I don't get a mention. Josh sits over there and he starts talking about title. Shut up. The only title that needs to be here is the reflection of perfection, Jason Lykens.
This is Jason's heel turn right now.
All right, I'm good now.
This is the beginning of his villain arc.
The reflection. You need to introduce him that way.
The
reflection of perfection. When you're good, you're good. But when you're great, you're me. So shut your mouth and listen. I'd be worried, but we have like 2 listeners, so I'm not that worried.
We literally do. I checked the statistics.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. We might have we might have more with this interview that's going to be on this episode.
Yeah.
I have an interview with Adam Harris that'll be in the next segment.
No, I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I know that you talked about Josh. I'm really interested to know what you talked about with me on there.
Fair enough.
I'm sure that you had wonderful things to say about Josh and myself, and I'm sure that we both get equal amount of airtime with that.
Yep, about as equal as it is with as many times as y'all been here.
Okay, so listen. How many episodes have I been gone now? 2? Past 2?
2.
Yeah.
2 episodes. Do you know where I was? You know what I was doing? What?
The Congos?
No, I was in Scotland.
Oh.
You know what I was doing in Scotland?
Finding about Chuck E. Cheese?
No, I was taking a break into vacation because I have the money to do that. That's what I was doing. I was spending my pocket change to go to another country and just throw some dollars out there.
I feel like you did. I know that you did go to Scotland.
I did, yeah.
Yeah. We weren't going to tell your business on the air. It was, you went ahead and done it.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's a respect thing. But I feel like you watched a lot of old school wrestling while you were in Scotland.
Did you meet Drew?
Did you meet Drew? Yes.
I didn't, but you know who I did see in the Atlanta airport? And this is a true story.
This is a shoot.
Yeah. Cody Rhodes.
Hey, we
Whoa.
Exactly.
you did you take a picture?
I did not.
You did not.
I
No,
did not.
no. It was somebody. Okay, yeah.
Well, it's funny because the last time I was in the Atlanta airport, I saw another quote-unquote professional wrestler, Tyrus. And, I mean, this is legitimate. This is all true. And I saw him, and I was like, oh, that's Brodus Clay, because that's what I remembered him as. And then my wife and I, we landed from Jaeger in Atlanta, and in my head, I'm like, oh, I wonder if I'll see any pro wrestlers this time. I didn't want to say it out loud because I don't like for a lot of people in my group to know that I like wrestling because I want them to respect me. and
while he's sitting here talking on a pro wrestling podcast.
Yeah, but I mean, no one listens, so it's okay.
Fair. I feel like we're about to start getting some more listeners.
You know what would really just bring in a lot of listeners? If it was me. Like, just me.
I mean, you can take it over if you want.
I do.
You could take it like writing the script,
Yeah.
producing it, putting all the beds together.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
see, if that happened, then you wouldn't have the reigning, defending, undisputed Grill Out Predictions champion,
My
world
God,
champion.
y'all both are overmodulating your mics.
Okay, well, one, Jeff, you seem to think that I couldn't do that. I mean, that is part of my. No.
I didn't say you couldn't do it.
No. I know what you're saying. I don't like it. Josh,
Yeah.
I just don't like you.
Oh.
You know who else doesn't like you?
The man who retired.
I mean, I was going to say everyone, but yeah, Sting.
I mean, I get along with Josh.
Again,
Just because everybody doesn't like you, Jason, doesn't mean you have to tell everybody else that nobody likes them.
well, no,
Quit projecting.
I'm not projecting. I mean, if you want me to quit projecting, then maybe I'll stop overmodulating the mic.
That's fair enough.
But what I do know is
Da-duts.
I'm back.
Yes, and you took up the first 7 minutes of this podcast.
He's actually back in black.
I am.
And in sandals.
Well, you want me to?
No,
want
we
that
don't need
again?
that. But you
The
did say
reflection of perfection.
you did say that you saw Cody Rhodes
I did.
in Atlanta.
I did. Yeah.
And speaking of Cody Rhodes, we might as well just go ahead and jump into our first story.
Yeah.
7 minutes into the podcast.
Yep.
WrestleMania 40, Night 1 and 2 have been officially announced pretty much. So this past Friday on SmackDown, The Rock, he laid down a challenge to Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes. And the challenge was that there's a tag match between him and Reigns and against Rhodes and Rollins. There's a lot of R's in this, I just realized.
Yeah.
Going to get tongue twisted a little bit. But if Rhodes and Rollins, if Cody and Seth win, then the bloodline is barred from ringside for the Night 2 main event between Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns.
So if Rhodes and Rollins beat Rock and Reigns, then the bloodline is barred.
Yes.
But if Rock and Reigns beat Rhodes and Rollins, then
Yes.
it's a bloodline rules match.
Rules match.
Anything goes, basically.
And is it that? Correct me if I'm wrong on this. I couldn't confirm it because I did go back and watch it, and I didn't really see it, but I could be wrong. That Cody could, if he does not beat Reigns this time around, if Rock and them win, if Cody does not beat Reigns, he cannot challenge.
That's what Rock said in his promo.
Okay.
WWE have not put anything official out about that, but that's what Rock said.
Okay.
And he is a TKO board member, so.
Well, yeah, and apparently he does have some say-so over the Hall of Fame class. But, anywho, that is the challenge that has been laid down. The challenge has been accepted by Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, and Cody slapped the taste out of The Rock's mouth.
He did.
Yeah.
And I'm going to call it right now. Seth Rollins is in this match to take the pin.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Yeah, because I don't see Rock taking the pin. Roman ain't taking that pin.
No.
And Cody ain't taking the pin.
No.
And old Rocky, he ain't doing it either. So, unfortunately, Seth Rollins will not will not be there. Well, he will be taking the pin.
Well, you know who else didn't take a pin? Sting.
He did not.
Yeah.
He did not. We will get to that, but real quick, I do want to announce go ahead and sort of regurgitate what the Hall of Fame announcements have been so far. We have 3 inductees announced. Of course, Paul Heyman, because they are going to be in Philadelphia for WrestleMania 40. It makes sense. The U.S. Express, which consisted of Barry Windham and Mike Rotunda. And because of that, there's been a lot of rumors that Bray Wyatt could possibly be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And then I think this one may be slightly overdue, Bull Nakano.
Yes.
Yeah. Everybody wants to talk about women's wrestling, the women's revolution, everything. Go back and watch Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze back in the early to mid 90s, somewhere in there. And also go and watch, I think it was All Japan Women's.
Yes.
Between her and Aja Kong.
Yes.
So they had like straight up like cage matches there, and Bull Nakano's doing a leg drop from the top of the cage, just insane stuff.
You also had Bull Nakano versus Medusa in
Yes.
WCW after, because really I want to like the Alundra Blaze Bull Nakano matches, but women's wrestling in WWF at the time was pretty bad. Like, a lot of it was just bad because they weren't allowed to do the same stuff that they were doing over in Japan. True. So the Alundra Blaze Bull Nakano in Japan is a whole lot better than with WWF-E.
I was going to say, I mean, it's different styles, a different type of way of working. Because I mean, look at Hulk Hogan when he goes over to Japan; he can actually work. Bull Nakano being inducted, U.S. Express, and Paul Heyman. I am assuming, and I think it's safe to assume there is going to be a few more inductees announced between now and WrestleMania, because we're about 4 weeks out, 3 or 4 weeks out from WrestleMania.
Well, I mean, it depends on when you're listening.
Depends on when you're listening to this.
Well, it's March 10th, and today's March 10th, and it's on April 6th and 7th. So we're slightly under a month until WrestleMania now. So
okay, so let me ask you all this:
okay.
Who inducts Bull Nakano? I'm thinking Alundra Blaze.
Yeah.
I don't really know much about Bull Nakano, but I would probably say that's
Okay.
And I was I don't know. You saw the announcement, Josh, about Bull Nakano, right?
Sure.
I was going to say once. I don't know, like the way her whole gimmick, with the face paint and everything. Like once you see it one time, you kind of don't forget it.
Yeah. I think she's also a pro golfer now.
Yeah, she's also like slimmed down a lot in recent years. She's quit wrestling years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's I think she is a pro golfer now. Oddly enough. But then again, pro wrestling, like after pro wrestling, they can kind of go anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it plenty of times.
So who inducts U.S. Express? I'm thinking Bo.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because Barry's his uncle.
Yes.
And Mike's his dad.
Yes.
Yeah.
So okay, that makes makes total sense. Tommy Dreamer, we're not going to say why, but Tommy Dreamer does not induct Paul Heyman.
So who does?
I've seen CM Punk thrown out there. I mean, hey,
that could be it. Could be CM Punk. Maybe the Dudleys.
Yeah.
I
mean, because they have Devon and Bubba in there now, so there's a possibility with them.
What about Balls Mahoney?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that one's going to happen.
New Jack?
No. Oh, well, wait a minute. You don't. Okay, hold on. We're back.
Oh, God. Why didn't anyone tell me?
I don't know how you don't know some of this
when
stuff.
When did this happen?
Like a year or so ago.
I didn't even know he was sick.
Speaking of the Dudley Boys, though, they are going into the Hardcore Hall of Fame this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did not know that. Moving on. So, another legend of professional wrestling had his last match this past Sunday, a week ago from today, that we're recording on March 10th.
Ric Flair.
No, it wasn't. It was not one of Ric Flair's many last matches.
No.
Well, he was there in part of it, so I mean, hey.
And apparently, like, he wanted to do it. He wanted to turn on Sting one more time.
I'll be honest. I'm shocked he didn't get color.
Yeah,
fair.
That's what I'm
Darby
shocked
did.
about.
Good Lord.
Darby. Which that was was that sugar glass they were using? It had to been. Yeah, there's no way that was normal glass.
I don't know. I mean,
have you not? Did you not see any?
Oh no, I saw it.
I was gonna say it was everywhere after it happened.
Yeah, I mean it exploded.
Yeah, glass went everywhere.
Yeah, it went into the front row.
Yeah, it was very. It did. It kind of went everywhere.
I'm just gonna say right now, Darby, please stop. Stop, man. Like, for the sake of your body, stop. Do you not see what it's done to Jeff Hardy? Just stop.
Not just Jeff Hardy. Mick Foley.
Okay, well, yeah, Mick Foley.
I was going to say Foley's a much better example because of all the.
Foley also, is a bit heavier than Darby.
He's got a lot more cushion to be taking bumps
a lot more weight on the joints and
yeah.
But I'd still rather hang out with Mick Foley than Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. Also, Mick Foley just seems like such a nice person.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get him on the podcast one day.
Yeah,
maybe.
But, so yeah, I mean, well, Darby, he's getting ready to climb Mount Everest.
Yeah.
Like he was talking on AEW the other night. He's like, I don't know if I'm gonna make it back. I'm like, oh, that's pretty ominous.
Yeah.
Never heard that in a wrestling promo before.
I read about a blind guy climbing Mount Everest. Why?
For real?
Yeah, like a blind guy climbed Mount Everest. He's not going up there for the view. Like, why do it?
I don't know.
I don't know, Jason.
I don't know.
I ain't got a clue. But Sting's retirement match. I did not get a chance to watch it because I'm bored. I couldn't afford the pay-per-view. Sorry. But
I watched it. I'll just say I watched it.
You bought the pay-per-view.
Yeah, that's what I did.
Yeah, you bought the pay-per-view because you did like try to get me to come over and watch it, but I just had other things to do, and again, I don't have the money to give him to go in.
These are in fact the real events that happened.
Yes, it's a shoot. But so you watched the whole match, like,
yeah.
Okay, so like since you are the Sting fan, what are your thoughts on everything?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed the entrance with his sons coming out there in his like surfer persona and the Wolfpack persona. They did the Stinger splashes. They could have looked a little bit better, but it's okay. It's fine. I think they jumped a little bit too soon when they did that. But anyways, I thought it was great. The Young Bucks did well putting them over and making sure everything went well. There was a point where apparently if Darby was not okay after that spot, they had like a plan B kind of situation where basically Sting would have had to done the rest of the matches himself. But yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was breathing into the mic.
I did. I just looked over.
I was like, hey. I was sitting here. I was like, "What's that sound?" It sounds like someone's breathing into. Oh, that's me. Oh god.
Consummate professional.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I know there's that whole. I want to call it archaic tradition that the legend goes out in their back. It's whatever. I'm glad he won.
Fair. I mean, because of that, amongst everything else, because I think you only got one match wrong. One or two. No, you got two matches wrong when I tallied them up.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I think you and I both chose the Bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jason and I did, and then
Just because of tradition.
Exactly. That's really because Sting he was even subscribed to that idea of the legend goes out on his back. I got to put the guys over, but apparently, according to reports, Tony Khan and the Bucks were rather adamant that no.
Yeah.
Sting deserves to go out on top.
Yeah.
And you know what? More power to him. I like I said, I didn't get a chance to watch the match. I saw the entrance because I heard Seek and Destroy, Metallica Seek and Destroy was part of the entrance. So, as a Metallica fan, I kind of marked out a little bit over that. But I don't have any problems with the match. I'm not the biggest fan of death matches. only if they make sense. It's kind of like spicy food. You don't want it to be spicy for the sake of just being spicy with no flavor to it.
Yeah.
It's got to have the flavor. It's got to make sense. Like, more power to you if you are into that type of matches, that those types of death matches and all of that. But it's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Personally.
I don't really consider this one a death match, just a hardcore.
No, I mean, I guess like a death match is more of a like a modern way of saying it. Well, then again, they did have the Tournament of Death. No, never mind.
See,
I'm off my game today.
You know, from my understanding, Darby doesn't understand the meaning of the word quit.
Nope.
And I find that that's really, really sad that with the educational system that we have in this country, that someone could not understand the meaning of a simple word like quit. Darby, go back to school.
Jesus. Well, you know what? Tell him that when he comes back from Mount Everest, because he is bent on doing that. And I'm not gonna lie, like after that promo, I did look up some stuff about Mount Everest. I mean, it is rather dangerous, especially once you get up towards the summit. So
people have died.
Yes. I mean, I have a friend who's climbed it 3 times.
Really?
Yeah.
What is what's his like experience with it? Like, I mean, obviously he's made it back 3 times.
Yeah. No, he died the first time
and then respawned.
Yeah.
Respawned at the bottom.
Yeah, respawned. No, it was. I said it was tough.
Well, I could imagine, but like I think a lot of people do it nowadays.
Yeah, it's not what it once was.
Yeah, like it's probably a lot more safer than it is now.
Yeah,
like if you can have a tour group to go do it. Yeah.
Yeah, but
like, I'm not saying that I could do it. I am saying I have no interest in doing it.
There's no way I'm doing it.
I mean, you could.
No.
We could put you in a helicopter, just fly you up top.
Yeah.
You get out, take the picture, get back in, drink some hot cocoa.
Do it for the gram.
Yeah.
You know, I was going to say, yeah, I'm looking down in my gut right now. There's no way. There's absolutely no way.
I mean, you could do it for the gram.
Yep.
So Kazuchika Okada joins the Elite. How about that?
Yeah. Yeah, he did join the Elite. He made his debut in AEW. And, joins the Elite. They fire Kenny Omega because he's not making shows, but reason for that is Kenny's health. It hasn't taken a turn for the worse, but he has hit some roadblocks according to him.
We got this show coming up in Charleston. Maybe he'll make his re-debut again.
Yeah, and then this time I'll be on the floor annoying everybody. Just like I did the last time he made his return in Charleston, West Virginia, and I just annoyed everybody in that section. I don't.
Well,
I'm sorry.
It just wasn't that section. I mean, I was in another section, and you were annoying me.
Good.
Not nearly as much as Tanner, though.
Tanner's loud.
Tanner is loud.
If you go back,
I love Tanner. Tanner, you're loud.
If you go back and you watch the original, like the first time they came to Charleston,
yeah,
you watch that Rick and Morty episode,
yeah,
you can hear Tanner rather well.
Yeah,
a few times throughout the broadcast. I've went back and rewatched it a couple times to make sure I was hearing what I was hearing, and yes, it is 100% Tanner.
I was sitting right behind the Randy Savage guy on the floor.
But yeah, so Kenny he did give a health update. Like I said, he's kind of hit a roadblock. Okada did make his return he made his debut as a full-time member of AEW now. Joined the Young Bucks. I'm calling it right now. They are calling themselves the Elite right now, but I just have a feeling that eventually they're going to call themselves the Elite-ist, just by the direction this story.
The what?
The Elitist.
Oh, the Elitist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just have a feeling
they could.
Yeah. It's not recorded, but years ago I did call the Golden Elite.
Yeah.
I said they're going to combine.
What about the Rain Bucks? Or the Young Makers?
Yeah,
not the Young Makers.
Anywho, we're going to stop it right there. Up next, I got my interview with Adam Harris, promoter and ring announcer for ASW, and also a producer for Mountain Stage.
The Young Reigns.
Stay tuned.
It's time for more of the Grill Out. Here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Grill Out. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty. So, to me, this is one of the most underappreciated positions in the world of professional wrestling, but it is definitely one of the most important. Every promotion has to have someone to perform this duty no matter what. It is the position to inform not only the audience at home, but more importantly, the audience in attendance. You've seen this man for All-Star Wrestling in Boone County and Regatta Pro Wrestling, among others. Joining me right now is ring announcer, promoter, producer for Mountain Stage, Adam Harris.
Hey, Jeff. Thanks, man.
Hey, appreciate it. And I appreciate you coming on right now.
Absolutely, man. Well, thanks for putting over the role of ring announcer, man. A lot of people don't tend to give the ring announcer much credit. You know, they're kind of in the background for the most part.
I know. Like, that and, like, referee are probably the two unsung heroes.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. No, I think the referee is obviously the third most important person in the match.
Oh, yeah. So what are some of the basics to being a ring announcer, and how long have you done it?
This is my 9th year of ring announcing, thanks to our good friend Dave Allen, who got me introduced. And he was introducing me as his replacement before I even realized it. And I had never ring announced before, but he knew how passionate I was, and I guess he thought I would be good at it, you know. And I'm a radio guy, and I love being a part of the team too, for sure. And it was something that I took to quickly. You know, the cool things about being a ring announcer are, you are an important part of that entrance for the wrestler. And the more I've worked with indie wrestling, the more I realize that every wrestler's entrance is important to them. Every match is so important to them. These are not guys who do this for full time, right? They don't wrestle 3 matches a week. They might wrestle 3 matches a month. And because of that, they're just so excited and so passionate to make that entrance to the ring, because that's when they get recognized, whether it's a good guy or a bad guy, whether they're looking to get cheered or booed. And I want to do the best job I can to make sure whatever needs to get got across to the audience through your intro is the most important part to me. So I really want to try to make sure it's accurate and try to get it right. You know, some of them are more complicated than others. It is really neat if backstage at sometimes somebody goes, "Hey man, good job, thanks for that," or whatever. It just like puts me over big time, because I really want to do a good job for the workers, so to speak.
Yeah, and it's always good to get that reassurance from everybody. I mean, here at the radio station, which, speaking of Dave Allen, he's the one that like put me over here at the radio station, brought me here. We had actually worked at a previous radio station.
What a guy.
Oh yeah. And he also, if you're listening to a Dave Allen show on 580 Live, you can tell how much he loves me on the air. So you're talking about, like, sometimes they're difficult. Like, so what is one of the more difficult announcements you've, like, announcing somebody to the ring? What's one of the more difficult ones?
There was a couple things that were said, like, in Italian, or I don't want to say anything specifically, because then that person might take offense to it or whatever. But it usually has something to do with either a different language, you know, or something that I'm less familiar with. Those are the ones I really, really try to work hard on, and try to do the pronunciation on the card, you know, versus trying to spell it or whatever. That can be difficult. And then sometimes some workers use it as a gimmick to, like, have the longest introduction as possible. You know what I mean? And so rather than, like, buck against that, I try to just lean into it, you know, and just try to make it as effective as possible. You know what I mean? If they're going to try to if that intro is that important to them, I want to try to make it as effective as possible.
I mean, coming from a guy like me personally who struggles at times with, like, pronouncing names correctly, especially, like, on this show, we cover, like, international wrestling. So we're talking about...
Yeah, right.
Yeah, once we get to Japanese wrestling, I
tap out. Yeah, I'm like you.
Yeah, I'm trying. Like, I think it was we weren't even talking Japanese wrestling last week. We were talking AEW, but it was Konosuke to Takeshita.
Takeshita, right? Yeah.
So my co-host, he even points out, he's like, "You're pronouncing that wrong." I was like, just
hope he's not listening.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, after Nakamura, it can be hard for me, for sure.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And a lot of people now, especially since Okada just debuted for AEW the other night, get ready for everybody to be butchering Kazuchika.
No doubt.
And speaking of Dave Allen, he gave me an idea, and I never looked at it this way. What is the importance of a ring announcer to independent shows?
Well, I mean, you could argue that it's even more important, because these guys, again, don't do this on a weekly basis. Chances are they haven't been seen on television. If they are on a DVD, that's maybe not been watched by very many people, right? So you're introducing this person for the first time, so to speak, every time, you know, and that's kind of, that is what makes it important. what am I trying to say here? Is that you can help the worker do what they're trying to do. It's like you're an important part of what they're trying to get across, as I've said already, and making that introduction accurate, whether it's the pauses or the inflection or whether you sound excited or scared, is how you can help make that translate even better.
Absolutely. So I know I mentioned All-Star Wrestling, which, by the way, that's where I was first introduced to you.
Yeah, cool. Good.
So it was, I went ahead and wrote it down. It was March Mania. It was ASW.
Okay.
March Mania 2019 in Julian. The main event that night was Nick Aldis defending
and Facade.
Defending it against Facade. I've told people about that match. I don't know if you remember this, but there was a little boy when Danny Moe got knocked out to the outside. And this little boy runs up to her because he's like, "Oh no, she needs help," and he's like trying to help her up. That was actually a good friend of mine's foster son.
Oh wow.
Yeah, who we were trying to get "Oh no, don't go up there," and he went up there and helped Danny Moe up.
Wow.
And then Nick Aldis, I can't sing his praises enough.
Me neither. No, me neither.
Because after the show, he didn't have to do this, but he called the little boy back up and brought him into the ring and all of that.
So does he remember that?
I haven't talked to him.
You need to interview him.
Yeah, exactly.
See what he remembers.
Exactly. Last time I saw him, he was just a wee little thing. Like I haven't. That was 2019. So that was 5 years ago.
Wow. Yeah. And that was an amazing night, and obviously the fact that the NWA champion came through was a huge deal, and it was huge at that time because Nick Aldis was getting the whole thing over again. NWA was just coming back, and he was making his way through the territories defending that belt, and the fact that Gary was able to get him to come and defend in Julian, West Virginia, was just so wonderful, and we were all thrilled, man. I mean, that was like working with Michael Jordan or something. To say you were going to work a show with the NWA, I'm literally getting chills just thinking about it right now. And we all got to hold the title, and as the ring announcer, that was so cool because they did, and we don't do this very often. I haven't done it since, but we did referee instructions before that match, where I got to hold the microphone in between the competitors and hold the referee, and he told the rules and stuff like that.
I completely forgot about that.
It was very cool, and we've never done it since, and I was all about that because let's make it special, and I was my moment, and I didn't even really have to do that much. But it was fun to say NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, which is one of those intricacies, right?
Yeah.
And we all, like I said, after the ref holds the belt up before the match, he hands it down to me, and it's there it is, the 10 pounds, in my hands.
Oh yeah, and so we have one of our co-hosts, Josh Cole. We call him. He's Adam Cole's long lost cousin.
Nice,
okay?
baby.
But he's literally a belt expert.
Cool.
He updates he makes sure that the Wikipedia pages are updated properly.
Interesting.
And he pointed out because I never picked up on the world's heavyweight championship, but he pointed it out. I went, wow.
Yeah.
I never even looked at it like that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And I'm not necessarily a belt guy, so to speak, but that to me is just such an iconic belt. And then to see it in the Iron Claw recently, with the Harley Race doing that promo, and it's it was so cool just to be a part of that. And that was just in my Facebook memories the other day, the match between Facade and Nick Aldis, man, and that was just so legendary. And my friend Nathan Bush, God rest in soul. Did you know Nathan? He was one of our commentators.
Yeah, I never got a chance to meet Nathan.
That's too bad. But man, he was liked by just about everybody. And Nathan literally was in tears after that night. He was just so thrilled that he got to be the commentator for an NWA title match, and literally in tears. It makes me tear up thinking about it because he's no longer with us. And I'm just knowing that he got to have that memory was a great one.
That's awesome. So I talked about All-Star Wrestling, Regatta Pro Wrestling. What all promotions have you ring announced for?
Well, it's awesome to get the call from any promotion if they trust me to try to help lead the show, and I try to help when I can. I can't do all the shows, especially because of Mountain Stage, right? 24 of my Sundays are already tied up, and so if I do, every All-Star Wrestling show, that means about 10 of my Saturdays are then tied up, and so I only have so much time, but I try to help when I can. The first promotion I announced for before All-Star Wrestling was XMCW, which was a little bit of a smaller promotion. And it was at the Fallsview Arena, which is what I like to say, in Fallsview, West Virginia. And it was good that I had that experience before I got to the All-Star Wrestling crowds, which were a little bigger, and that's not a knock on XMCW or anything. It was just that I got a couple chances to ring announce before stepping up to ASW. And but I have done Appalachian Championship Wrestling. I love working for Moose and Scotty. I love doing the Buffalo Wild Wings shows when I can, just because any outdoor venue I just love.
it's an interesting atmosphere when you're outside, because like with professional wrestling, you're used to being in an arena of some sort.
Yeah, with like chairs and mats and barricades and stuff, and that's just not what that is. It's much more free form. I love the outdoor shows no matter what. And so if I get a chance to do one of those, I'm most likely going to try to make it happen. And I've done Conquest once, Pro Wrestling Conquest that runs here in Charleston. I've gotten to work with them. 1 weekend last year, or 1 month last year, I announced for 4 different promotions in 1 month, and that was really cool. And the other one was Battleground Wrestling, who was running out of Winfield, or they've run all over, but kind of based in Winfield. And so, like I said, I love to get the invite. I usually ask Gary first, just to be sure, because I feel loyal to him, and I just want to make sure there's no issues if I go and work for somebody else. But I'd say All-Star Wrestling is definitely the one that I get recognized and seen. Most people see me as the announcer for ASW.
Yeah, and speaking of Gary, like I've spoken to a couple other people, Dave Allen being one. Mm-hmm. You don't hear a bad word about him.
No, Gary's an excellent promoter.
Absolutely.
You don't even hear the word excellent and promoter in the same sentence that much.
Exactly. And also speaking of Dave, so he's the one that got you in with announcing.
Definitely, very quickly. Yeah, I was in from the beginning because of Dave.
Yeah, and he mentioned to me, he didn't go into specifics. I just want to get your side of things.
Oh boy.
There was an angle, sort of.
You mean when Dave left?
Yeah, when Dave left, because he said something about being a heel manager, and you came in.
Yep, he booked it perfectly. Yeah, and so Dave came out with the Mid-Atlantic Outlaws, which were the heel champs at the time. And I'm blanking on who they were fighting right now. It may have been Rocky Rage and Huff Manley. I'm not sure who they were fighting. But the heel team, the babyface team, was managed by J.J. Dillon, the legendary manager of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that much to do with it. If I did, I've forgotten about it, because it was so legendary that it was so exciting. And I was watching Dave just live his dream, because the tag belts were on the line, and I can't exactly remember how they did it, other than J.J. Dillon did the classic, pulled off his loafer and reached in there and loaded his loafer and knocked Dave in the head, and Dave actually was in the ring and got the pin, and they actually won the tag team championships from pinning Dave Allen, and so it was all beautiful. It was beautifully done, beautifully worked, and an awesome way for Dave to go out on top. He got to be a part of a pretty cool angle. And the crowd was going nuts for it.
Yeah. So this upcoming week, because I've been, we ran into each other at the legislature.
Yeah.
I am now going back this week to producing for Dave Allen. So I will.
Oh, good. Nice. You'll be back at home.
Yeah. I might even bring all of that up.
I'm sure he's going to be glad to have his tag partner back too.
Exactly.
Dave was great. He let me announce a couple matches at a show, and then I showed up at the next ASW show, and he was like, "Hey, I want you to do the first match, and then I'll do it, and then we'll see after that." And I said, okay, cool. And so I was like, oh gosh, I've got to kick off the show or whatever. And I did the intro and whatever, and we started, and I got done, and he was like, okay, you're going to do this next one, and then we'll talk after that. And I said, okay. And after that, he goes, you know what? You're going to do this one, and you're going to do the rest of the show. And I was like, wait, no, not like that. He just nudged me until I was already doing the whole show, And he was like, no, you're going to do the rest of the show like that. And it was really fun, because I wasn't fully prepared. He and I were going to share duties, which doesn't make sense, Nobody would do that. But he did it with me one time, and I was glad that we got to share the duties that one time.
Absolutely, and I think Dave, if he didn't make that text message to me, because he texted me, I think it was in October of 2022. I was out of radio, and if it wasn't for Dave, he's going to be listening to this right now, grinning ear to ear.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for him, texting me and be like, hey, what are you doing for a career? And I'm like, because I'm a custodian on the side. I'm like, I'm scrubbing toilets.
Yeah.
He's like, you want to come back to radio? I'm like, we'll see. So I came here for an interview and everything, and I messed up the first day royally. And then afterwards, he came in there. He goes, so what happened? I said, I had a brain fart, Dave. And he was like, no. He's like, well, he said, it's fine. Just, forget about it. We'll move on. And actually, when we're talking about going into the show, he will actually sit there and talk wrestling terminology to me. That way it sticks. He's like,
nice.
Okay, this person's going to powder out.
Nice,
this person's coming in.
Right on.
Yeah, so he's like, yeah, you know what you're doing. So you just came from the toys. The toy fair?
There was a vendor show, yeah,
okay.
I think is what they officially called it, yeah. That a walk in time is a store over on the west side of Charleston. It's actually right off Patrick Street, and JR and Eric have a store there with records and tons of vintage toys and collectibles and cards. And so they put on a vendor show probably 3 or 4 times a year over in North Charleston. And this was my first time setting up today. I always go, but this is my first time setting up.
And from what you told me, you said you did rather well this time.
I did okay. This was my first time, so I didn't know. And for the first time ever, because I usually go there and spend a bunch of money, and so this was the first time I walked out with more money than I went in with, which is a goal, But yeah, this is my first time setting up, but I'm a big collector, and I've got an Instagram account called the WV Fig Hunters. Yeah. And if I'd have known it was going to stick around this long, I might have chose a different name. But it was just like natural. It's like what I wanted to do. Like I'm a big thrift store guy, and I love looking for stuff out in the wild. And so that was the idea. Was we're just going to look for figures in the wild, And so that's one of my passion projects is just posting stuff from my collectibles, from my collection on Instagram. And it's wild to see the people that are out there that'll find you. And like I've got people in the UK who are big, wrestling fans, and they're always jealous of what figures we have on the shelves, and yet they have cool stuff over there, like UK exclusive Panini releases and stuff, and I'm always like, oh, I wish I could get a hold of that, and people from all over the country message me, and because I go to so many of these vendor shows and I'm always posting it on my stories and Instagram and stuff like that. Like a guy even messaged me saying, "Hey, I'm setting up for the first time. Do you have any advice?" And it was just like, it struck me. It's like, I've never set up at a show, but he knows I've been to enough that he at least asked for my advice. And it was cool because then I followed and said, "Hey, how'd it go?" And he was like, "Oh, it'll be even better next time. And thanks for your advice," and all that stuff. So made connections that, that are outside of the music business and all the other stuff that takes up my daily life. It's like, it's good to have that corner of the world that you can escape to, just like with watching wrestling for that matter.
Yeah, it's a good escape. Ring announcer, promoter, and producer for Mountain Stage, Adam Harris, joining me right now as we wind down this interview. Regatta Pro Wrestling has Market Mayhem coming up this Saturday, March 16th at the Capitol Market.
316.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What?
I popped a little bit there. I had to pull myself back to be a little bit more professional. Full disclosure, I'm a Stone Cold Mark.
He's got a Coors Light over there.
I wish. But so, yes, that is this Saturday, March 16th. The meet and greet is at 3. Bell time is at 4.
Yeah.
So far, y'all have 4 matches announced.
Yeah, we just announced the main event today as we're recording this, which is Bishop Baylor, who is our Regatta Pro Wrestling champion. During last year's Regatta, we had the Sternwheel Slamboree, the first ever, and we crowned the first ever Regatta Pro Wrestling champion in Troy Parker. And then Bishop Baylor executed a clause in the contract that none of us knew about and was able to actually get a title match that same night and took the Regatta title from Troy Parker, which is one of the reasons that Bishop Baylor infamously calls himself the longest reigning Regatta Pro Wrestling champion of all time. And he's going to put the belt up at the Capitol Market on March 16th against Jay Wilde, who is a young up-and-comer out of the St. Albans area originally, has been training at the Power Slam Academy for a few years now with Chance Prophet. He was out for a couple years with an injury there, but he's a young man. He's fully developed as a pro wrestler now, and he's ready to make his name, not just as a student, but as a graduate, I think, of the Power Slam Academy. He won the Casey King Invitational Confetti Cannon Cup Battle Royal at the last Slam Plaza. And so because of that, I think Bishop Baylor kind of hates everything related to Casey King. And so Bishop hates the Confetti Cup tournament winner, Battle Royal winner, rather. And so he decided that he was going to give his first title shot this year to Jay Wilde.
And my question is, how could you hate Casey King?
Casey King is one of the funnest. He's the funnest wrestler out there, and I think that Bishop must just hate fun.
Has to, because anytime any independent promotion I've went to, and Casey King's on the card, I know I'm going to have a little bit of fun with that one. He's just going to come out there and just have all kinds of fun with everybody.
Casey King wrestled Jack Vaughn last night in Conquest, and it was awesome. It was a stupendous match, man. 10 stars.
Yeah, and Jack Vaughn, for those of you that don't know, he is very, very serious about professional wrestling.
Very serious. Yeah. And silly yet at the same time.
yeah. He does have that old school feel to him.
Totally.
Some of the other matches that are going to be on the card: Nurse Micah taking on Emily J, Noah Ray taking on AJ Kazana.
Yeah, AJ Kazana is a star of the NWA, and he's a part of the Kazana brothers. And he's made it up to West Virginia a few times now. He's wrestled a couple tag matches with Axton Ray for Gary at ASW, and he's going to come up and challenge for the ASW Boone County title at Market Mayhem this Saturday. And AJ and Noah, that's two big old boys, ladies and gentlemen. So if you're a fan of, like Big E likes to say, you'll be a fan of this match at Market Mayhem.
Absolutely. And then you have the ASW Tag Team Championship match. Chance Prophet and Troy Parker taking on DD Trash.
Yeah, so last summer at Sternwell Slamboree, Troy Parker, like beloved, fan favorite wrestler, but since then he's kind of taken this dark side turn in joining up with Chance Prophet. Chance attacked Casey King in his return to ASW. Really turned and surprised a lot of people, and then Troy Parker joining up with Chance Prophet surprised people even more. But together, man, they are a devious tag team, and they've got a shot at the DD Trash, who are enjoying their second run as the ASW Tag Team Champions. And so they've got Glamorous Gary in their corner. I'm anxious to see how that one turns out, and just to not to spoil anything, but that's going to be our opener for the Market Mayhem. Okay. So you want to get there on time, 4 p.m. bell time, to see that tag defense.
Yeah, and remember, 3 o'clock will be the meet and greet. And isn't there one more match that y'all have?
We're going to announce one more match. Next week, I'll go ahead and give you the scoop here. It's going to be a triple threat match between Kryzak, who is a long-time veteran of the scene, and he's actually been Bishop Baylor's working class tag team partner in ASW, going up against Jason the Gift Kincaid, who is quite seriously the best wrestler to ever come out of West Virginia. I'm sure you guys have talked about him at length on your show. And then a new guy to this area, although he's been making a name for himself, he's actually a wrangler from out in Wyoming named Cowpoke Paul. Cowpoke Paul stepping in for the triple threat match at Regatta Pro Wrestling. This is one not to be missed, and it is a little bit of something for everybody on this show. You know, it's going to be a family friendly show. It's a free show. Actually, the franchise Shane Douglas is going to be there signing autographs from 3 to 4, and it follows the Green Chili Cookout, the Green Chili Shootout, which is a fundraiser sponsored by the Manahan Group for the Capital Market, which we all know and love. The Capital Market, it's a great resource in this town, and so they invited Regatta Pro Wrestling to kind of tag on to the chili event. And we said, this is going to be great because, as you know, and I have known, we've both known a long time that West Virginia is a wrestling state and Charleston is a wrestling town, and we're finally starting to act like it, I think. And so that's what Regatta Pro Wrestling's mission is.
Absolutely. Adam Harris, everybody, I appreciate you coming on to the show, and everybody just remember, support local wrestling.
Absolutely. See you at the matches.
Absolutely. Up next, we have On This Day in Wrestling History and the main event. Stay tuned.
Once again, here's Hollywood Jeff Petty.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Grill Out. I am your host, Hollywood Jeff Petty, and I am joined by the Reflection of Perfection. Is that what it is? The Reflection of Perfection.
If you want to be good, be good. If you want to be, what was it?
Be great, be you.
When you're good, you're good. But when you're great, you're me.
Fair. Jason Lykens. Also joined Josh Cole, Bebe, and your current Grill Out World Predictions champion.
You know who wasn't at Revolution?
Who?
Kevin Nash.
No, he was not.
WWE wouldn't let me go. Lex Luger went and said WWE was very classy and let him go. Just don't be on camera. Where's your excuse, Kevin?
Josh is getting ready to turn this into a shoot interview about Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
He's a little upset about that. It's okay. But this last segment, which means On This Day in Wrestling History. And we are back. On this day in wrestling history, March 10th, 1997, on the 200th episode of WWF Monday Night Raw from Worcester, Massachusetts, Jerry the King Lawler and Paul E. Dangerously were involved in Worked Shoot WWF versus ECW debate. Involved in a Worked Shoot WWF versus ECW debate. Also, Mankind and Vader defeated Psycho Sid and The Undertaker in the main event. It's also kind of crazy that they had the 200th episode of Monday Night Raw in 1997.
Yeah.
And here we are in 2024, and they're are they close to 2,000?
We had 1,000, a couple years ago?
Oh, no. I think it was around 10 years ago they had
Was
that.
it?
Yeah, because I think that was right before I started watching again. And I started watching again in 2015. It may have been that same year.
Maybe.
So close to 10 years.
There's a lot.
Yeah. There's a reason why Michael Cole says the longest episodic television show in history. March 10th.
2012.
2000. Oh, more than 10 years. Ooh. It was 12 years ago.
Maybe it was SmackDown I'm thinking of.
Possibly. March 10th, 2008, Chris Jericho won his 8th WWE Intercontinental title by defeating Jeff Hardy on WWE Raw from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He would go on to win one more Intercontinental title. He's tied with Miz, right? I think so.
Maybe. I think Jericho had 9, maybe.
I know Jericho's got 9. Did Miz tie his? Or he might be one off.
I think he's one off.
Possibly. Mm-hmm. March 10th, 2014. On WWE Raw, the famous Occupy Raw segment took place. Daniel Bryan took over the program by filling the ring with genuine fans from the crowd sporting his shirt and chanting yes. He refused to empty the ring and let the show carry on until the Authority agreed to grant him a match with Triple H at WrestleMania 30, with the winner being added to the Randy Orton vs. Batista Undisputed WWE Championship match main event. So,
That's WWE World Heavyweight Championship.
Oh, okay. But it was undisputed, right, at that time? Because they had the World and the...
Yeah, it just wasn't called that.
Oh, well, that's the website I got it off of.
Yeah.
I think it's TJR Wrestling is where I get this stuff.
The Undisputed WWE Championship been from 2002.
Ah, fair enough.
But also, Chris Jericho does have 9, and Miz is at 8.
Okay, so Miz is one off from Jericho. Okay. So that is on this day in wrestling history. It's also kind of crazy that the Occupy Raw segment was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I feel a little old.
Yeah.
Moving on, the main event, which is just basically us giving you a heads up on what your week of professional wrestling is going to look like. Pretty much your regularly scheduled programming outside of AEW Big Business, which will be this Wednesday. It's rumored that Mercedes Moné will be making her debut in AEW. And this is also taking place from Boston, so everything's lining up. Locally, and as to what I talked about in the previous segment with Adam Harris, Regatta Pro Wrestling's Market Mayhem this Saturday, March 16th at the Capitol Market in Charleston. The franchise, Shane Douglas, will be there for a meet and greet at 3. Bell time is at 4, and it is a free wrestling event. Go out and support local independent wrestling. Everybody talks about supporting mom and pop shops. Go support independent wrestling. Plus, it's a free wrestling event.
Yeah.
And it's next Saturday at the Capitol Market. Meet and greet is at 3. Bell time will be at 4. And actually, in the previous segment, they haven't announced. Adam did announce the final match in the previous segment. So they have 5 matches on the card. And yeah, you can go back and listen to them.
Watch you some wrestling and get you some local eats.
Yeah, and apparently I hear that the sushi is rather good at the Capitol Market. I have not had it, but that's just what I've heard.
So what if Mercedes Moné does not come to Big Business?
I'm questioning why they are calling it Big Business.
Yeah, because the only reason I say that is right now in WWE, Bayley's been she's now all solo and stuff, and looks like she needs a friend. It's like, what if it's Sasha Banks comes back and helps her?
That would be a swerve. And also, my question is if you're going to promote this as Big Business from Boston, and you're going to basically telegraph it like it's
John Cena,
you won't see him coming. You won't see him coming. But if you did not secure the contract with her, and you went ahead and promoted all of this, you're just creating you're creating a problem for yourself. So I don't know. I don't think that they would announce this unless they had her like locked in and ready to go. Which I guess according to SRS from Fightful, she's been on the payroll for a little bit now. So it's all kind of lining up. Again, like what I've said throughout the program, if you have any comments on the show, anything you would like to add, anything you would like for us to cover, you can email us, thegrillout95@gmail.com. That will be down in the description below. Also, go like the Facebook page. The link to that is in the description below as well, and you can message us there. And let us know. Let us know if you go to Market Mayhem and what your experience was with all of that. And also if you're going to the AEW show that will be here in Charleston April 10th.
1 month from today's recording.
Actually, yes. So 1 month from today, when this podcast goes out, if you're listening to this on 106.7, 1490 WSWW, of course, that is, March 11th, but still, yeah. Anywho, would you guys like to add anything else before we close this out?
It's been kind of quiet over there.
No, I'm good.
Huh?
He's like, I'm Gucci. Well, until next time, fellow wrestling fans, have a good one.
Goodbye, and good night, bad.